Hey, in this video we are going to create a Next.js application that is providing the user research questions suggestions. So we will have the interview topic. For example, I want to have user research interview questions about the use of domestic appliances in the cooking process. And when I submit the topic, I get the interview question suggestions from ChatGPT API. And to do this, I'm actually going to use ChatGPT itself. I've tried to prompt it to create the app for me. It's not always successful, especially regarding the recent documentation, but it is certainly an interesting tool for rapid prototyping that we are going to try today. And the first thing that I've asked ChatGPT is to create a Next.js and Tailwind application. And it does a pretty decent job. It gives me all the instructions, what I have to do in order to create such application. Unfortunately, these instructions are not up to date, so at this moment I have to reference the documentation in order to create the application. But I can certainly see that in the nearest future, when these models will have an access to the recent data, to the recent information, then they certainly will be able to provide me with the necessary instructions. But for now, let's just go to the documentation and create the application. The first thing that I need to do is to create a Next.js application. Let's just copy this thing that will create my project application in the root folder. Now when the app is created, we have to SD into the project folder. And then let's open a Visual Studio Code. Here we have our application. Let's see what we have to do next. And next we have to install Tailwind, and that's what we will do. The next step is to copy this code into Tailwind config.js. So we find Tailwind config.js and just copy the provided code there. Now we also have to import Tailwind to global CSS. So we find global CSS, delete everything that is here, and just import Tailwind. Now let's open also the page. Here we have a lot of boiler code that we actually don't need. For now, we will just use Hello World example, and we will run the localhost. So I will delete everything here, put Hello World, and run dev. So we have our server running on localhost 3000. Let's open, and here we have Hello World. Let's try to change the color. Awesome, so everything is working, Tailwind is working, Next.js is working. What we have to do next? Next, I've asked ChatGPT to create a React component for me that has a simple form with a title, interview topic, text area, input, and submit button. I've also asked it to create a place where I would show the response from the API. And I've also asked it to use dark theme and make it elegant. So let's see how it did this task. First, it again started to repeat what I have to do to create the Tailwind application, and we don't need this, but we need this code. So here it is actually creating the form as requested, with a title and with a text area and submit button, and also the place for output. So let's just copy this code and see how it works. So I just copy this code here, and for now let's let's not change anything, and we will just delete this axis because we don't need this. We will actually delete everything that is related to API request. And when I deleted the code from ChatGPT, I actually got another suggestion from GitHub Copilot. And GitHub Copilot also is using OpenAI API in order to provide these suggestions. And in this case, they actually make much more sense. So I would probably accept everything that GitHub Copilot suggesting and see how it will work. And for API URL, we will actually use this hello thing. Let's rename it to something like interview. No, let's rename it to chat. And here we will also rename it to chat. API chat. So now we are referencing this file in API when we make an API call. So let's see now what ChatGPT suggested for the front end. Let's go to our local host and see what we get. Well, not bad for a chatbot. Let's put something into output in order to see this area. So this output is shown only when we have something, and in the future we will have interview questions here. But for now, let's put something like lorem ipsum and yes, $CTMAT, thank you. And see how it will look like. So not bad. I would change some paddings in a moment. Let's just do this. So we will change this. We will remove items center and put padding top. Let's see. Now it's to the top. I will also add margin to this block for the interview questions. And I will also add margin bottom here. And let's make it a little bit wider. So probably Excel. Alright, so I just made few changes for the paddings and margins. And that's it actually. I didn't change anything else. I think it looks decent for the suggestion of the chatbot. So we will work with this layout. I think for the front end, that's it. We don't need anything else. And actually now we already have our API call suggested by GitHub Copilot. And we have a boilerplate here. So theoretically speaking, when I click submit, then I should have John Doe in the console. So let's see if it's working. I reload what I have, open console, and let's see. Submit. All right, we don't have anything in the console, but let's see if our function is working at all. I comment this, and I will just add console log. Alright, we have our submit. When we submit it, that's great. It means the function is working. We'll remove this and comment this. Let's now go to our API and let's rename name to response. Okay, so now we have John Doe as the response from the API. And now we have to connect OpenAI API. And that's pretty easy to do this. First, we need to create an environment variable. Let's just create a new file, .env. And here we will create an OpenAI API key, this one. So to do this, we have to go to our account, and I have it actually here. We go to our account and we click View API Key, and here we will create a new API key. Copy it and just paste it here, and I'll just copy the name also and paste it here. So that's it for the environment. Now we have to go to the documentation and see what we have to do else. So we have to install OpenAI. Let's also do this. Create another terminal and install. And then we will go to chat and just copy this. So for now, we just copy first the headers. And headers will go here. And now I will copy the call itself. And completion, and I copy it here. So in messages, we will actually have role and content. So we can also do this content. And let's put it to the variable. So instead of console log, we will have a new variable, suggestion. And we will put everything under suggestion. In case we don't have the data, let's also add the question marks. And we will put suggestions here. Suggestion. Visual Studio is saying that our function should be async, so we will also do this. And in case we don't have anything under suggestion, let's also write this: if suggestion is not there, response no suggestion. Let's see what we have. For now, we don't pass any user input to ChatGPT API. For now, we are just passing hello world, but on submit it should work. So let's see if it will work. Yes, it is working. Hello, how can I assist you today? And that's it because we typed hello world. Now we have to put user input there, and it's basically very simple. We have our input in request body, so that's what we have to add. Constant input and request body. And for now, let's just put this input into content. So we will not modify it, but just put it into the content. And that's it. Let's see if it is working. Yes, it is telling me a joke, so it is working. I want to have my interview topic here, and for every topic I will output the interview questions. And to do this, I need to modify my prompt. Actually, I also don't need this input. Let's delete this label. We don't need this. Together with ChatGPT, I've prepared a guide that would help ChatGPT to create the interview questions. So here are just general directions about how to make the interview questions. For example, talk about the problems and pain points, blah, 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 follow up on past experience and so on. So I just created a small guide also with the help of ChatGPT. And now I want to use it to help ChatGPT to create interview questions. So I will have the topic here. Now I'm saying, using the following guide, list 20 interview questions on the following topic. And here the topic goes. And then I will have the interview guide. And let's see how it is working. Okay, we got it. It is starting to generate the answers. So that's what we will copy. And instead of the hard-coded topic, here we will put our input. So it will look like this. And I just copy this prompt, not this. This are already the answers. And I just copy this prompt to our API call. So instead of just input, I will have the big prompt. Alright, let's test it. For example, I want the interview questions about the use of domestic appliances. Let's see what it will give me. Awesome, I put the interview topic here and I get the interview question suggestions from ChatGPT. It's not broken down, but I think this is the topic for the next video. For now, I will leave it like this. I'll just add a few front-end tweaks. I will make this text area smaller and we'll add the margin bottom to the suggestions. So let's just do this last tweaks. So probably 2 rows for text area. And then for this div, I will add also the padding bottom. We also should work on other details. For example, when we submit a form, we should have the loading state. Now we don't have it and we just wait and nothing happens. Also, we should limit the user input and so on. So there are, of course, a lot of details that we still have to polish. And to polish these details, we actually can try to use ChatGPT because these details are not related to the recent documentation, and we could just try to prompt engineer our request, input our code here and try to get the output. So ChatGPT is not great when we need the recent information from the documentation. For example, when we were creating the API, we have to refer to the documentation. When we were creating the application itself, we still had to check with the recent documentation as well. But when we are speaking about the general code, it does pretty well for rapid prototyping, and we can certainly improve and build on top and ask it for modifications. And for now, we just have our small working application. See you in the next video.